Oh, yo, wrong house, kid. Get the f out.
Hands up. Stand up. Place your fingers behind your head.
You a cop?
You wish I was a cop. Where's the girl?
I told the cops. She ran off, drunk or something.
People lie. I don't trust people. I trust biology. Your mind has you in a bathtub. It is just a wet towel. But adrenaline makes your heart race.
Yo, these guys are next level. They wipe out entire f***ing bloodlines.
Fair enough. Just know you're giving me names. Your choice how.
At a construction site, Levon Cade spots a group of thugs roughing up one of his workers. He approaches calmly, telling them the man needs to get back to work, but they just laugh in his face. Without a hint of warning, Levon whips a bucket of nails at them and detonates into a ruthless beatdown. When more guys rush in, he drops the pickaxe, heaves a cement bag straight into someone's chest, and rips a shotgun from another attacker, sending the whole crew scrambling off the site. His shaken worker looks to him for an explanation, but Levon just brushes it off and keeps moving. Up above, Jenny, the boss's daughter, saw it all and promises to keep his secret.
Snitches get stitches. Just get my back if I ever need it.
Sure, Jenny.
Levon Cade is a respected foreman at Garcia and Family Construction, a tight-knit crew that treats him like family. Joe and Carla Garcia dote on him, and their daughter Jenny, fresh off a semester of college, handles the accounting. She wants to rent a party bus to celebrate with her friends. Joe pushes back, but after some pressure from Carla, he reluctantly hands over his credit card. After work, Levon heads to an upscale neighborhood to pick up his daughter, Meredith, from her grandfather's house. Dr. Roth holds custody on alternating days and, eager to needle Levon, has staged a full party on Levon's pickup night, manufacturing tension to make him look unreliable. Roth insists Levon is an unsafe parent with anger issues simply because he's a veteran.
You weren't there when a mother needed you, and you won't be there when Meredith needs you. But I will. Oh, I know. You want to strike me. It's your only answer. Violence. You're an unsafe parent. You're a killer. You can't pretend that you're not.
Excuse me, Dr. Roth.
In the car, Meredith admits she didn't eat at the party and is starving. Levon takes her out for food and gives her a framed photo of her late mother. She confesses she sometimes forgets her mother's face. Roth removed every picture from the house. Levon reminds her that her mother looked just like her. Bit by bit, Meredith opens up, admitting she's angry at her mother for dying and leaving them behind. Levon tells her he carries that same hurt. Later, Levon meets with his lawyer, who lays out the newest hit in the custody battle. Opposing counsel is arguing that Levon suffers from untreated PTSD and brain trauma from his service. They're now pushing for supervised visits and cutting his time with Meredith from 2 hours a week to 1 hour every 2 weeks.
I have to fight this. I have 10 grand saved up.
From sleeping in your truck? Court won't be thrilled by your lack of a fixed residence.
Hey, I'll figure it out.
When asked why Dr. Roth despises him so deeply, Levon finally explains. Roth blames him for his daughter's death, who self-deleted while Levon was deployed overseas.
She battled depression her whole life.
You've heard of attrition warfare?
Yeah, you grind the enemy down slowly.
This guy's got a team of $1,000 an hour attorneys who will bleed you dry until you turn to dust and blow away. The best we can do is negotiate a surrender.
You have a daughter?
Meanwhile, Jenny hits the town in the rented party bus, handing out fake IDs as she and her friends bounce from bar to bar, laughing and celebrating. In the background, a couple watches them quietly, snapping photos and trailing them from one stop to the next. At their final bar, a bartender named Johnny is unusually attentive to Jenny and seats her at a private table in the back. Moments later, he texts the couple to come inside. When Jenny heads to the bathroom, they strike, ambushing her and dragging her into their van. On Monday, Levon arrives at the job site to find police swarming the area. Inside the office, Joe and Carla deliver the news. Jenny is missing. She never came home after going out Friday night. They reported it on Saturday, and by Sunday, she still hadn't returned. Missing even her piano recital, where half the family was waiting for her. Desperate, they turn to Levon. Joe says he knows a fellow veteran when he sees one. His father was a Green Beret.
I can see you guys coming a mile away. You want bad guys. Jump out of planes. You get those bad guys.
They offer Levon $50,000 to find Jenny, plus 20 more for expenses. But Levon refuses, insisting that part of his life is over. After work, Levon drives deep into the woods to visit Gunny, an old military buddy he once saved. Though Levon still carries guilt for not being able to save Gunny's sight, Gunny shuts that down immediately. Levon saved his life, and that's what matters. Levon brings up Jenny, saying she's a good kid and that he promised he had her back. Gunny smirks, telling him he didn't have to drive all this way pretending he needs permission. If Levon's going to do this, he needs to do it the old way. No half measures and fully lock in. Afterward, Levon visits the Garcias, where Joe sits alone in Jenny's room, drinking and replaying an old recording of her performing Moonlight Sonata. Jenny once turned down a music scholarship to follow in her father's footsteps as a land developer. As Joe spirals, Levon reminds him that after his wife died and he left the Royal Marines, everyone except the Garcias abandoned him. Joe, Carla, and Jenny became his family, and Levon promises he'll bring Jenny home. Afterwards, Levon digs through the photos Jenny and her friends took that night and checks her last known location, Skip's bar. Inside, he watches the bartender Johnny slide drugs across the till. Behind the bar, Levon finds a broken security camera and one of Jenny's pearls on the floor. When Johnny closes up, Levon tracks him back to his apartment using a planted device. Johnny is getting high when Levon walks in with a shotgun. Questioned about Jenny, Johnny repeats the same lie he told police, that she wandered off drunk, but Levon doesn't buy it.
Fucking Poopa can't hold her drink? How's that my problem?
People lie. Do you lie, Johnny? I don't trust people. I trust biology. We're all wired the same.
He then drags Johnny to the bathtub and waterboards him while laying out the nature of pain.
Your mind knows you're in a bathtub. It is just a wet towel, but adrenaline makes your heart race. So you burn more air. Your nervous system tells you that you're drowning. The bosses know you deal dope over the bar top. Steal from the till. Fuck you!
Once the pressure becomes unbearable, Johnny finally cracks. He warns Levon that the men involved are on another level, people who wipe out entire bloodlines. Before he can say more, two armed men burst into the apartment looking for Johnny. Levon pulls Johnny in front of him as a shield, steps out, and guns both intruders down without hesitation. Afterward, he slips on gloves and checks their tattoos. They're Bratva, Russian mob soldiers. He stages the scene as a robbery by grabbing some cash, then walks out. Meanwhile, Jenny sits locked in a dark room, whispering to herself in fear.
I wish you could have seen me, who I really am. Just want to be strong like you.
Outside Johnny's apartment, Levon watches a luxury car pull up. Two meatheads in Gucci step out with a Bratva captain named Wolo Kolisnik. Inside, they survey the bodies. Wolo spots 90 grand missing and assumes the killings were part of a robbery.
This is a shotgun wound. You see any shotguns?
That's 9 bands missing. $90,000 of our fucking money!
It's Simon's money.
Soon after, a cleanup crew arrives with a chemical drum to wipe the place clean, while Levon quietly takes notes from a distance. Then, his daughter Meredith calls from school just to check on him. When the Russians leave, Levon tails them across the city to Wolo's home. He gears up, then watches through the windows. Inside, Wolo's wife begs him to come to bed. When she tries to kiss him, Wolo slaps her hard, ranting that money doesn't fall from the sky. Levon takes that personally. Once she walks away, he slips inside. He splashes hot coffee across Wolo's face and drops him cold, then brutally toasts some donuts in the kitchen. When Wolo wakes, he's tied to a chair anchored to the wall, hanging over a water pit, mouth taped shut. Levon rips the tape off and warns him to keep his voice down, any loud noise, and he drops. Predictably, Wolo starts yapping about how Levon has no idea who he's dealing with.
You clearly have no idea who you fuck with. Make yourself happy. Tell me.
Variv Zakoni. You have heard of us?
I have. The Vor. The Bratva. The Brothers. The League of Thieves. Whatever Russian gangsters like to call themselves these days.
When he accuses Levon of killing Vori soldiers and stealing Vori money, Levon shrugs it off as a misunderstanding. Wolo, a high-ranking brother, promises that Levon and anyone connected to him will be hunted for 3 generations. But Levon doesn't flinch. The moment Wolo raises his voice, Levon slaps him.
That's for slapping that woman this morning.
That woman was my wife.
That's for slapping your wife.
Yeah, Levon wasn't letting that slide. He then throws the stolen money onto the floor, saying he doesn't care about it. Then he shows Wolo a picture of Jenny, explaining she was kidnapped at the bar where Wolo runs his dirty business. Naturally, Wolo answers in Chinese.
Dimi, sukin syn, Dimi. Я брошу тебя в озеро. Ты притащил этот кусок. Диама, ко мне домой.
You should keep your voice down.
What do you want?
Give me the girl, and everybody goes about their business.
A girl. All of this is for a girl. No one kills 3 people to sell a woman. No one.
I'm not selling her. I'm gonna bring her home. Not stopping until I do.
Who are you? What are you? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Fuck you!
After proving he doesn't have any brain cells, Levon cuts the rope, dropping him into the water. Wolo thrashes and screams as he drowns under Levon's cold stare. Afterward, Levon translates the Chinese phrase Wolo used, pointing him toward the next name, Dimmy. Soon after, the cleanup crew arrives to wipe the place clean. Then the two clowns from earlier return with their father, Simon, another high-ranking Bratva member. Reviewing the security footage, Simon concludes that Levon is a man who kills without fear and isn't driven by money, which makes him dangerous. He calls Wolo a respected man of honor, unlike his own son Dimmy, who prefers mischief over hard work. Simon then orders his boys to find Levon and bring him in. Meanwhile, Jenny remains locked in the dark room when one of her captors brings food. Jenny gives her name and begs them to call her parents, claiming they have the wrong girl. The woman just laughs, saying Jenny might not be real, but this room is. She tells her to get dressed, eat, and shut her mouth. Across town, Levon calls a friend in the DEA and asks about a man named Dimi, an associate of Volodymyr Kolisnik. His friend warns him that Volodymyr is a mafia captain. Levon is stepping into dangerous territory. Still, he gives Levon a lead. Hattie's Bar in Joliet, a meth hub tied to the Russians. Levon rides in on a motorcycle, orders a beer, and scans the room. Up in the surveillance booth, Artemis, the girl involved in Jenny's kidnapping, watches him on camera. She grows suspicious fast, especially when they catch a glimpse of a gun on him. One of the bikers heads over to check him out, but Levon flashes a stack of cash. Moments later, the biker tells him to come with him. In the back room, Dutch, the biker gang leader, sits on a throne. He orders Levon to empty his pockets.
You heard the man. Put her on the table, fucking now.
I didn't come here to be disrespected.
Moments later, Dutch gives the signal and his men swarm. Levon unleashes hell, breaking hands, ragdolling bodies, and slamming men into furniture. He even grabs a skull from a shelf and uses it like a pair of boxing gloves to beat the last guy senseless. Just as he's about to deliver the finishing blow, Dutch calls him off. With his respect earned, Dutch shakes his hand and asks if he's ex-military, because he fights like one. Dutch served as an airborne trooper too. When they sit, Levon says he's looking for blue glass, the street name for crystal meth.
I need weight, regular, like £4 a month.
That's all? Who you flipping it to?
It goes where it's needed. Customers are my concern, not yours.
Then Dutch asks why he came here. Levon claims his Chicago Connect vanished and he's been running non-stop shifts. They settle on $5 grand per pound. Afterwards, Dutch tells him to be at a pancake house at 7 a.m. sharp, then dismisses him. The next morning, Levon shows up and meets two armed bikers who threaten him with a gun and demand the money. After handing the cash over, they toss him a burner phone, saying they don't trust him. He'll get a call with the pickup location. Back in his car, Levon answers the call. Dutch tells him there's a pound taped under his seat and they'll discuss more weight tomorrow. Levon hangs up, drives to a bridge, and dumps the drugs into the water. Meanwhile, the couple who abducted Jenny stuff her into a suitcase and deliver her to a man. When they ask why he chose this girl, he says she reminds him of a painting in one of his father's houses. After paying them, he has Jenny carried to the back room. He checks her heartbeat with a stethoscope, clearly taking some twisted pleasure in it. When he unzips the bag, Jenny bites him in the face. Screaming, he storms out and orders his goons to get her out of there. Back home, Levon builds an evidence board when Dutch calls, asking if he enjoyed the sample. He tells Levon there's one more person he needs to meet before they can do real business. A sit-down tomorrow, and Levon should wear a suit. The next day, Levon arrives at the meeting where Dutch sits beside another man. After he hands over the cash, the stranger introduces himself as Dimi, confirming he's the guy Levon has been hunting. Levon gives a fake name,
Coates,
and hands over his ID. After the verification checks out, Dimi shakes his hand and hands over a briefcase full of drugs. If Levon needs more, he says, just text the bunny rabbit emoji.
You made aware I need £4 a month?
Oh, and text eggplant emoji. We are aware. If you like what is in the case, we do more business. Now you leave and don't look back.
Fine by me.
After the meeting, Levon dumps the stash and goes through Johnny the bartender's phone. He spots the same mystery man appearing in several photos Jenny took with her friends. Their messages show they met up at Hattie's, the same bar. Levon heads back to scope the place, but Artemis sees him on the cameras again and sends the goons after him. Levon reacts instantly, stealing a biker's motorcycle and tearing off as the Russians chase him down the highway. They open fire, bullets slicing past him. Levon dodges and weaves, but eventually gets forced into a corner. His bike skids off the road and crashes into a police car. As the officers step out, Levon realizes the truth. They're on the Bratva payroll too. Before he can react, the Russians grab him and drag him into their van. Inside the van, the two men question Levon, demanding to know what he wants with Dimmy, and reminding him that the man he drowned was their uncle.
He wouldn't shut up. I warned him.
Do you know who we are?
They are people whose ma dresses them funny.
This is fucking couture, man. It's a fucking brand.
When they try tying up his legs, Levon snaps into action, knocking them back and grabbing their gun. It slips, hits the floor, and all three dive for it. Levon blocks them, pounds both men around the van, and chokes one with a rope. The other lunges to stop him, but Levon fires a shot into the driver instead, sending the van crashing off the road. When it stops, Levon breaks one thug's knee with a hammer, then puts both men down permanently. He frees himself and pushes the van into the lake. Soon after, Simon stands over the bodies of his two sons. Cold and expressionless, he orders his men to convene the war council. Elsewhere, the two kidnappers meet with Dimmy. He tears into them, furious that Jenny bit half their client's face. After more insults, he orders them to kill her immediately.
Now fuck off!
Fucking off, sir.
Holy shit, he was pissed.
Fucking beyond. He's this close to smoking us both. We gotta whack that girl.
Fine by me. Let's do the little bitch.
At the Bratva meeting, Simon tells his men they're facing a demon. Someone who killed 2 Bratva soldiers, drowned Volodymyr, and murdered his sons. When he demands retribution, the council assigns him 2 soldiers to find Dimmy, believing Dimmy will lead them to the killer. The men track Dimmy to a nightclub and fire into the ceiling, clearing the place in seconds. Then, one thug decks Dimmy in the face. Simon informs him that his father is dead, drowned in his own pool by the same man who killed his sons. After showing Dimmy Levon's picture, the stunned Dimmy admits he only met the man for 5 minutes, introduced by a biker gang leader. Simon then tells him the truth. This man is hunting him. In another part of town, the 2 psychopaths hire a hacker to dig up everything on Levon, his Royal Marines background, his family, his connections. Then they head straight to Dr. Roth's house to make their move. During the day, Levon gets a call that no one picked Meredith up from school. After collecting her, he races to his father-in-law's home, now engulfed in flames. He finds Dr. Roth tied up inside and carries him out to safety. Outside, Roth says the attackers were Russian mafia looking for Levon. He rants that violence follows Levon like a storm cloud, but Meredith fires back, reminding him that Levon saved his life when he could have left him to burn. Levon drives Meredith to Gunny's cabin to lay low until things settle. When Levon explains that everything leads back to Dimmy, Gunny leads him to a room filled with weapons, each one carrying its own history.
What you got over here is the M4 carbines, the Chevy Impala of the War on Terror. Beautiful MP5 SD here if you want to kill somebody but you don't want to wake them up. But this is the real beast here. One of the original weapons of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. The M14. You might remember this weapon.
I don't want to, but I do.
There you go.
After packing his gear and saying goodbye to Meredith, Levon heads out to wage his war. Elsewhere, the 2 kidnappers are driving Jenny out to kill her when she starts praying. They mock her, saying God isn't here, and point a gun at her. But Jenny kicks the weapon away and thrashes wildly, sending the car crashing off the road. She cuts her legs free, scrambles out, and bolts into the woods as bullets tear through the trees behind her. She frees her hands and vanishes into the dense forest. Panic sets in as the kidnappers lose her, Artemis spiraling at the thought of ending up in prison. On the road, Jenny spots a police car and flags it down. Unaware these officers also work for the Russians. They drive her to a secluded house where the 2 kidnappers grin at her through the window. She's taken to a swamp and they prepare to kill her until a call comes in from the disfigured client. He asks if they still have the girl. When they confirm, he tells them he wants another date with her at the farmhouse, and she's not to be cleaned up. He wants her dirty and alive. Meanwhile, Dimmy is in full panic mode, packing to flee the country. Levon shows up and tears through 2 guards with clean, clinical brutality, then uses a third as a human shield while unloading bullets into the rest. Dimmy grabs one of his girls and holds her hostage, threatening to kill her if Levon moves. Levon shoots straight through Dimmy's palm and tells the girl to take the bag of money and run. He shows Dimmy a picture of Jenny, demanding her location, but Dimmy only laughs, asking why he'd kill so many people over one girl.
Why kill everyone for her?
Because I told her I had her back.
If I give you this woman, you let me live? Because if I just give you the address, then you shoot me, huh?
What if you give me a fake address and I shoot you? That's bad for both of us.
Head south on 57, then I give you her address.
Let's go.
On the drive, Levon shows him a picture of Viper, asking if he knows him. Demi explains Viper is the chief of HR for their special projects. After a tense ride, Levon asks where they're going, and Demi points to a remote building, saying Jenny is inside. Levon drags him out of the car and asks why they picked her and who decides. That's when Demi lays out the entire operation. Viper scouts clubs, snaps pictures of pretty girls, and sends them to clients. The clients choose, a meeting is arranged, and the girl is taken. Another specialty service, just like shopping for snow tires.
These are human beings.
You think money gives a shit where it comes from? If I didn't do this, somebody else would. You still haven't told me why. Why do you hunt us?
You have a daughter?
No.
Then you won't understand.
Afterward, Levon gears up in full military kit and storms the compound. Inside, wealthy patrons mingle casually, while the man with the torn face sits in the back, smoking calmly, waiting for his next appointment, oblivious to the hurricane about to hit. At the rear of the house, Jenny sits at a piano and begins playing Moonlight Sonata, as Levon silently takes out the lookouts posted in the trees. Across town, Dutch gets a call. Levon wiped out several Russians tonight and is heading straight for Demi's trap house. Dutch and his crew gear up and roll out. Inside the compound, Levon kills one of the elite guests, then drops a guard afterward. Upstairs, Viper and his sister burst into Jenny's room, drag her into another chamber, and chain her to the ceiling. The girl then fetches the pervert, who grabs a knife and taunts Jenny, telling her he wants to see what she looks like on the inside. Suddenly, a grenade rolls down the hallway. It detonates, ripping the mansion apart and throwing everything into chaos. Levon storms in and starts dismantling the operation one shot at a time with his M14. The pervert and Viper barricade themselves in the room with Jenny while everyone else flees. That's when Dutch and his gang smash through the house, firing wildly. Levon cuts them down one by one, including Dutch's second in command. Moments later, Dutch himself steps forward for the final showdown. He overpowers Levon at first, tossing him around with brute strength. Then he grabs a knife, demanding Levon's real name.
Levon.
Nice to meet you, Levon. You ready, son?
I'm always ready.
Screaming, he charges, but Levon drives a blade into him mid-rush, pins him to the wall, and ends him decisively.
My fight wasn't with you.
I know, brother. Finish it!
Sorry, brother.
With the biker gang erased, Levon reloads and heads upstairs. When Jenny calls out, he bursts into the room and instantly kills the pervert. Viper empties his gun at him, but once he runs dry, Levon unloads, smashing his head through a window and dragging his face along the wall. Meanwhile, Jenny holds her own, fighting Artemis and killing her, all while still chained up. Afterward, Levon frees Jenny, only for the two Bratva maniacs to burst in, spraying bullets at everyone in sight, including the corrupt cops. Levon drops them with cold precision and heads downstairs, laying his M14 on the pool table as a final gesture of respect for the friend he once failed. Jenny takes one last look at the ruined mansion and says goodbye before they slip outside, climb onto a motorcycle, and tear off into the night. From a distance, Simon watches them escape and calls the Bratva, reporting that Levon survived, but the higher-ups order him to stand down.
None of this was business. The devil has what he came for. Let him go.
If Simon pushes further, they'll kill him. With no hope left, Simon collapses in the yard, screaming in helpless rage. By morning, Levon and Jenny return home, where her entire family rushes out in tears to embrace her and thank Levon for bringing her back. Afterwards, Levon heads to Gunny's cabin, where Meredith runs straight into his arms, clinging to him with everything she has. Gunny smiles, relieved to see his friend make it back alive. For the first time in a long while, Levon sits at a table with the people he loves, sharing a warm breakfast, surrounded by quiet, by safety, and by family.